Oh, yeah, baby.
Vikingo and Lou 2.0.
Woo!
We made it.
Yeah, we're back. We're back ready to podcast. We've attempted a few times, but it wasn't the right time.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't the right time.
And we can get into that timing later as well. We'll probably hit on that. But we woke up this morning ready to share. We've been sharing our journey online for what, 5, 6, 7 years now?
Yes. About 5 years.
And like in a public way, you
Yes.
know? And there's a big part of our story that we have been wanting to share with you guys. Like it's been just in the back of our mind and on our hearts to share with you guys, but we just haven't been fully ready and in full truth and alignment with ourselves to share. But we woke up this morning feeling really ready to share with you guys a big part of our journey to divine union, a big part of our marriage
Divine
journey.
what?
Divine union.
Divine union.
We'll get into that later.
This is what sparked us coming here today, is the subject of divine union. And it is time. We are ready to talk about everything, what's led us to this, and to enter into divine union.
Divine union, which, if you don't know what that means, and you're like,
yeah, what the heck is divine union?
I don't know what these people talking about. It's to me, it's just finding that like divinity in your marriage, that like alignment, that like cohesiveness, where it's just everything's intertwined in this beautiful strand of love connected to the divine. So it's basically a divine marriage, a divine partnership, divine love. And our journey to get there has been full of ups and downs. And
yeah, it's getting up and down, all around. We've had examples of what it is not exactly, things that are like close to what it is.
We've lived what it's not.
Lived what it's not.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of joy, there's been a lot of pain, and then the discovery of what divine union is when the divine masculine in his wholeness is in union with the divine feminine in her wholeness, and it comes together, and it is pure magic. And I didn't even know what divine union was until about a year ago. And so we'll tell the whole story, starting from the beginning.
Yeah. I made sure to wear my my goddess necklace to protect me and to just give me the strength to stand in the. This is the Virgen de Guadalupe. So I wore her today to help me stand in my divine feminine strength today to share this story, because it does take a lot of strength. I hope you guys know before we begin to share that this is coming from a place of a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. This is kind of a heavy topic as well, but we just really, we've come a long way from there. And I think one thing that's good to remember is as soon as you take pain out of a memory, it becomes wisdom. And I've heard that said in many different ways, but I think today we're speaking from wisdom. We're not speaking from any more pain. There is probably still some things that hurt now and again, but I feel like we're in a place coming to you right now to share this from a place of wisdom and love. So let's begin.
And experience.
And lots of experience.
A lot of experience. We just had our 15-year anniversary, and I was just telling Lou, it's like I feel like we've had 15 different lives in the last 15 years. So much expansion, so much experience, so much discovery. And yeah. And I can say that I love you more than when we got married. So,
oh, me too. I know you more. I know myself more. I love you so much more. Oh, wow. Yeah. For sure. So do you want to start from the beginning? Well, let's just start from like, how were you raised? What was the dynamic of your household growing up, and how you saw marriage in your own home and then we can go to mine.
Okay. And so I was raised very religious, and also very conservative, farming culture, farm ranch culture. And so to me, marriage was the woman bowed to man as the man bowed to God. And so usually the communication came from God to the man, and then he would give that message to the woman. And then the woman is the homemaker, which is beautiful, has the children, which is beautiful, keeps the house, and the man provides and protects, which is beautiful. And but you know, the man receives the messages from God and directs the whole family and the woman, and the man heals. The man sits at the head of the table. The man is in charge.
It's more of a patriarchal.
And it's a patriarchal, and so that's what I was taught.
Dynamic.
That's what I was taught, and so there's a lot of beautiful things in that. But we'll talk about that later. But that's how I was raised.
So that's the example you grew up in a home where that was, So mine's really similar. I won't get too much more into it. You really hit the nail on the head. We both grew up in the same religion, and so we both grew up in very orthodox homes that were formed by this religion in a very patriarchal way. The men were the ones to receive direct connection to God. Would you say that's accurate? Yeah. They have the power of God flows directly to only the men in this religion. They have the priesthood. It's very patriarchal. I saw my parents slowly throughout their marriage shift into kind of a very, I don't feel like your parents did this per se, but my family, it started out really well, but then ego starts getting in the way, and it really took a turn for the worse, and it really went to a really sad extreme in terms of that, and just power struggles. And my dad just kind of, I feel like maybe overstepped his authority in many ways. It's gotten to be a really, I had to witness a pretty unhealthy version of that. Mm-hmm. There are very healthy examples of that too, and I'm not to say that it doesn't work. There's so many
versions of it.
Yeah, and not to say that it doesn't work. I see a lot of couples that thrive in that setting too, but I had to witness a really sad version of that in my home, and a lot of just sexism, and it just wasn't the very best environment for me as a woman growing up in that space. So we both kind of grew up similar backgrounds there. And then we met in college at BYU.
BYU Cougars, baby.
So still very much in the same religious background we were raised in.
Yeah, I just got back from my 2-year mission in Toronto, went to BYU, and then we met, and so we were very much in the religion, and
religious mindset
and how it works.
So that was the structure and the system that we got married into.
So we got married, and I was the man. I didn't have a lot of ego or whatever, but I was told, I'm the one that is a patriarch over the family,
right?
And I'm leading this ship, and I'm over you. But yeah, it's not all bad. I mean, there's a lot of good in it. There's a lot of good in it, but I didn't know what was coming to where we're at right now. We'll talk about that.
So married. Not married. We did that.
Saints. Saints. I was a virgin.
I was a virgin too.
Besides like one hand job and touch a couple boobs. But besides that, I was a virgin.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. That's funny.
Real talk, baby. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, we were virgins. Both of us were virgins, which is very, in order to get married in the traditional Mormon way, you get married in the temple, which is a sacred place there's lots of different ceremonies, and that's where we were sealed
for eternity,
for time and all eternity,
which is a beautiful thought.
It actually is very beautiful, and I think there's a lot of roots to this ceremonial practice that, coming full circle through my experience, there's actually some really beautiful truths to it. There's a lot of mud in the mix too, but anyways, so we got married. I was 18.
I was 22,
which is kind of pretty common for Mormons. So we were very young, very inexperienced, didn't know what we were getting ourselves into at all. And we got married, and it was a rocky road. I feel like from my own immaturity, I was 18 and just not knowing what we were getting ourselves into. But we figured out a lot of things. Moved to Mexico after graduation, had 2 kids, and we kind of just lived the Mormon life, right?
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing the Mormon life really strict and everything. Then my shelf starts to crack in the religion and started having my doubts. And then I was seeking for deeper questions, answers to deeper questions in my life, stuff that was on my soul. And then we ended up leaving religion and seeking out a lot of the questions of the soul, and started finding a lot of answers to some of the questions that were on my soul. I had plant medicine ceremonies that were very beautiful and opened my mind, and started receiving a lot of answers, a lot of answers. And that was super beautiful because these are the things that I sought after since I was a little kid. And so we left the religion, we started getting a lot of answers, but then as our structure of our life started cracking and it all fell. And so okay, what's true? What's a lie? Yeah, the foundation, it was swept from underneath, and then everything fell. And so we're trying to rebuild and okay, what is true? And what is a lie, right? Or what doesn't resonate, right?
It was a complete reconstruction, guys. Everything came crumbling down. We felt like we had been lied to our entire lives. It was a clean slate of shoot, now who am I? What do I believe in? What systems are even right? Because we had just been, from our perspective, we felt like we had been betrayed or lied to by a system that formed our entire life path. And now that life path and that journey was completely gone. So we were really starting from square one in terms of life school. What is this experience? So we started questioning a lot of systems. We started questioning a lot of the ways we had been living. And one of the systems we questioned obviously was religion. Another system we questioned was the system of marriage. That was now on the table. That's a rough one. I don't know why we went there.
Yeah, and so, we'll talk about other systems that we started questioning on the podcast, but we'll stick to the marriage here.
And the systems continue. We still question a lot of systems, and it's just a process of discovery and putting it all together.
And
right?
so as the manual of our life was taken away, we're writing our new manual, and we're okay, what is marriage? And then we have experiences oh, it's all one love, and there's just love for everybody. And what is marriage? Is it just me and you, or do you open it up and it's just all one love and have other partners as well and stuff like that?
And does the system of marriage even work?
And because you see so many divorces, and you're more than 50% of the population end up getting divorced, and so there's all these things that you're just questioning. Or should you just be my life partner? Or should we really be committed?
And roommates, yeah.
And is it okay to have sex with other couples or other people,
Say the virgins from BYU that have never had much life experience. So we were just so inexperienced with life, too. Just life in general. We didn't even have a sip of alcohol, before we had met.
Yeah.
We were very naive and inexperienced people. And so after leaving the church, it was time to experience life. When most people are doing this during their college years and their teenage years, Bronson and Lou are over here doing it married with 2 kids.
Yeah, we had our freshman year in college the way most people had it, but married.
Postponed.
And with 2 kids. And so we started experimenting a lot of stuff. So we have a lot of good stuff going on, with spirituality and opening our eyes, but also we're just playing with we opened up our marriage, and we played around with that and I had sex with other people. I'm just gonna be straight up and just say that. It doesn't. Now it makes me sick to my stomach saying that, but that's what we did. And for me, it's from being a virgin and only had sex with one person in my life, Lou, And then like, oh, I wonder what it feels like to be with another woman and sharing that. And so like, there's like, oh wow, there's that pleasure, but also there was a lot of pain.
So much pain.
And so like, I wouldn't even be able to do it without like drinking alcohol, numbing, and then wake up the next day very anxious. But I was like, oh, well, it's pleasure. But then my soul, it caused my soul a lot of pain. And so we just had to go through that.
Yeah, it was an ugly, it was a really brutal, confusing, ugly time looking back. And yeah, just even talking about it, guys, like it's still kind of heavy for me.
Yeah, it makes me kind of, my stomach hurts a little bit. Honestly, just kind of.
But I'm like, I'm also just really, I can get into the gratitude part later. I guess we're in the midst of it right now, so I'll just sit in it. But for me, this experience of the minute you start to question the system is the minute your mind starts to wander into these like really pleasurable places. So our minds were starting to wander, and as soon as you're in this, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Way of living, any road will take you there. So we just kind of were in this really non-structured mess, and our mind was just leading us, and our body was leading us, and it led us down some really, really awful road where pleasure, became a bit of pleasure seeking for a few years. And Bronson, luckily, he kind of snapped out of it a little faster than I did. You were able to see, with eyes to see what we were doing sooner than me. I feel like for me, it kind of unlocked this like, what's that famous box that people say? Pandora's box. Thank you. It unlocked this Pandora's box. I feel like it did for you too, but in different ways. You were able to shut the box faster. But for me, it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm a sexual being. I'm this powerful, this like incredible sexual feminine energy that I was never instilled with as a young child. I was always told that was shameful and to hide it, and that's disgraceful, and that's shameful. Hide your body, hide your, we, even in Mormonism, we hide you even cover your shoulders. We cover our shoulders. We have to wear shorts to here. Like our body is we protect our body at all costs. And there's a beautiful part to that I respect, but there's also a lot of shame culture, especially in my home. There's a lot of shame culture. So being able to free myself of this shame and really stand in my sexuality, and enter this space where I felt so powerful as a woman was so beautiful and freeing. What I didn't know is that that's a beautiful thing, but guard it, protect it, treasure it, hold it sacred, hold it dear. And instead of doing that, which I didn't know at the time, I just let it all go. And I was a loose cannon of just leaky sexual energy just everywhere. I didn't know how to hold this power that God had instilled in me and in all of us, right? It's this beautiful power, this beautiful gift. And it was just too much energy and not enough experience or even like groundedness to know how to channel it in appropriate ways. And so it came out like just like wildfire for me. Yeah. And I learned to just really play on the surface level of life to make this playful, pleasurable time frame of our marriage make sense and even like exist. Because Bronson went to like a numbing. He numbed through the experience, through alcohol, mostly, through alcohol. Yeah. And I just decided it was fun. It's just fun. I'm just playing, So there's no because you numbed and I just played up here, because there's no depth in the world of pleasure. That's what we learned there, wouldn't you say? Yes. And I didn't know what was going on with me like then until like now, out of it. Right. And the reason why like I got out of that mindset a long time ago, probably 5-6 years ago, I don't know how long it's been, was because I would have to numb to be able to get to the decision to like sleep with someone else.
So I had to numb my soul. And I didn't know that's what I was doing then.
Yeah.
I know now that my soul was rejecting what was going on, but I was seeking pleasure. I was following my mind and my justification. And I was like, oh, well, it's open and it's one love. And that's what made sense in my mind. It's just like, there's no systems and there's nothing like this. And it's one love. But like, I did not know that my soul was rejecting it and causing me like this anxiety.
Yeah, he got a lot of anxiety during this
And
time.
so I would numb,
panic attacks.
have the experience, next day, anxious and depressed.
Massive panic. This guy started getting really bad panic attacks.
And I didn't know why. But now I know why. Like the anxiety and the panic attacks come from rejecting my soul. I was rejecting my soul.
Not living in truth.
I wasn't living in truth, and my soul knew that is not the natural way. That is not the divine way.
Right.
And so now I know that. Then I didn't. I just know I didn't want it. And then I also was rejecting a lot of times Lou. I was rejecting you. And I didn't know why, because it was creating a distance in our marriage. And obviously, I think it was, and when your partner exchanges energy with somebody else and absorbs that energy and brings it to you, my soul would reject it unknowingly. I didn't know what it was doing. I was just like, ugh, you know? And so that was very hard, and I didn't know what that really, I didn't know what my energy body, my soul body, I didn't know what it was doing at the time. I just knew physically, I was just like, I don't know why I'm feeling really distant.
You were feeling distant
and
from
I
yourself?
didn't want to numb.
From your soul?
Yeah.
Feeling distant from me? So
yeah.
It's just from the inside out.
And I didn't want to numb, and I know that was a path. Like, seek more pleasure, seek more numbness. And you can do all kinds of things to seek more pleasure and numbness to distract the way your soul is feeling. Right?
And we have a lot of friends that live that way, you know? And it's really sad. It's a really sad path to take, but it is a path. And I think some people have to experience that path.
We had to go through it.
We did. I still don't know why. Maybe it's because we're meant to share this message with you guys, but
I know we only know and appreciate what we know and appreciate now because of how much pain that was and how much that did hurt. And so, the opposite of that, like, wow, appreciating this, loving this, because I know what that pain feels like, and we had to pass through it, learn for ourselves, because that's the way Lou and I are, is just like, we have to experiment and learn for ourselves, like, oh, but now it's like listening more to that wisdom faster. That is in the soul. And so now it's like, now I'm gonna listen to the whispers of the soul instead of the thunderbolts.
Yeah, we were taking a lot of thunderbolts.
And so now I'm like, okay, if my body is like anxious or if it's distant, they're like, there's something there. And so now I can navigate life better, faster as I pay more attention to the subtle nature of the soul.
Yeah.
I don't want any more thunderbolts. No. I want to follow the whispers.
Oh.
And so.
Oh my gosh. But
yes.
So, and just to continue on to this, because I do want to move past this because this is really muddy.
We're explaining the extremes, the suppression, and then the openness. So those were the extremes we experienced.
Yeah, and I think also for me, I did a little bit of numbing, but for the most part, I just kind of played on the surface and did a lot of disassociating. So something would happen, and I would just like, my mind was able to literally just put things in a box that was like in a bin far away, like stored far away, and those bins started gathering dust. That's how easily I learned to disassociate. But what came from this open marriage for me was a bit of like a sexual addiction to sexual attention in my life, and also I would say a sex addiction as well. And so Bronson didn't really know this, and I didn't know this at the time either. I just thought he was in it with me. He must be doing the same thing. But for me, this really took a turn, and Bronson was over here realizing this wasn't working, and I'm over here just having so much fun, and just really fell into the trap of pleasure in a really brutal way. And this realization that I had this addiction and was really in the thick of this pleasure loop and couldn't let go of it has barely come to fruition like within the past year. And so this is all still very, very fresh for me. And so it's just been like quite the painful journey, not just the short time that we were open, because it wasn't very long, but just the lingering effects of it has really damaged me and our marriage. The lingering effects of I missed that little pleasure. Like, I want to go back to it. It felt so good. And then, so just this constant battle between like light and dark within me, and then dealing and finally accepting the fact that I had a sexual addiction and an addiction to sexual attention from that experience. And now being able to like look back and see what it was and see it for what it was, and hold gratitude for myself for being able to come to awareness on that, has just been the most freeing and beautiful experience. So that being said, ooh, that's rough, babe.
Yeah, that was heavy.
I can't believe we made it through it. It was just some really heavy, hard years, and the way it lingered is just like, it almost just seriously destroyed this. And I know that Bronson and I never wanted to destroy this. Like, deep down, we never wanted to, because I know we both have always wanted like a deep connection to life and to each other and to ourselves. But we almost lost like the most sacred thing to us. And I'm so glad we didn't. I don't know how we managed to make it out of that trap, but we did. And it feels good to just be in a place to be able to speak to it, because if you can speak to it, that means you've like really closed a chapter, and it feels amazing to feel that inner union and wholeness from within. But anyway, sorry.
No. What
you were saying, and what we've learned from this, is we've been able to experience marriage and union and partnership. We lived very extreme experiences of it. We were able to see a very like orthodox, patriarchal.
Yeah.
You can go into that.
Yeah, we lived the patriarchal orthodox way of marriage,
where the woman is a little more subservient.
And suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And not have that like clear channel to the divine, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And there's a lot of shame. There's some shame.
There's shame.
There's sexual shame in that. I sense from my experience, speaking from my experience.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of.
And there's beauty in everything that we learned as well. Like, there's a lot of good lessons and beautiful lessons, right? But there was that aspect of, the suppressed feminine, and the men had more power.
And also suppressed sexuality. There's a lot of addiction to pornography, even for men. Like, the suppression that we experienced in our, because you had a pornography addiction.
Yeah, I struggled with pornography like from, I don't know, probably like 17 years old, because we didn't have internet. I mean, I had dial-up internet, so if I had a freaking 4G, it would have been a different story. But anyways, 17 to like, I don't know.
Like even into our marriage.
Yeah, like until I was like 29, 28, 30.
Yeah. Around
there. And so there's this suppression of sexuality, and then it just made me want it even more.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Because I was so suppressed. I was like, but I was trying to be so righteous, and but I had this itch, and just like, and then you get turned on by any little thing because it's so suppressed, and it wasn't like I didn't have a healthy sexual relationship
with sex.
With sex.
And with your sexuality.
And with myself, because it's just like, ugh.
and I didn't either. And that's something that we've realized that more Orthodox religions tend to have. If you're told you can't do something, you want it more. You're more curious.
Like, you can't eat ice cream anymore. Then you're like, every time you go buy ice cream shop, you're like, I really want that ice cream.
You want what you can't have. That's just a natural human condition.
Yeah, instead of learning how to live and what's a healthy amount of ice cream, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good example. Should we say tacos? I don't know.
But tacos are good. I like tacos.
Anyway, yes. And so we had that aspect, and then also
we lived that experience.
We had the experience of like the openness, where there's a lot of beauty in that. Like, there's like the love and all this stuff, but like there's also a lot of pain. There's so much pain because your energy bodies and your spiritual bodies, your soul bodies are absorbing energies from all these other people and bringing it back into your union. So I don't know what I passed on to you that I got from somebody else, and I don't know what you passed on. And then we got into like, there was lies.
Lots of lies.
And that was the most painful. This experience of an open marriage was the most painful experience in my life. It's the most painful thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I was in a lot of pain. And one of the things that hurt the most was not like both of us living in truth. And so like me, my intuition, like, hey, there's something going on with this guy, or there's something going on. And I'm trying to work and be productive. I'm like, what's Lou doing? And I was having these, like, sometimes I'd have a vision in my dream of what happened, and I'd come home and like, no, nothing happened, you know? And that was so painful.
Yeah, I got to a point where like Bronson was kind of done, and we'd said we were done, but like I said, I kind of had a lot of lingering things I needed to figure out with myself and this addiction I had to this lifestyle we were living.
The bell rang and she was just still playing at recess. I'm trying to make light of a heavy subject.
Good job, thank you. Appreciate that. That's a good example. I was still out playing on the playground, but I was trying to keep it a secret because I knew he was done. And I said I was done because I wanted to be done. I really did. I wanted to be done. I desired to move forward in our marriage. I just had this addiction that I didn't know I had. And so I resorted to lying in order to save our marriage and protect our marriage, because that's what sometimes humans do. We lie to protect ourselves and to save and not hurt the people we love. And it is just, it's a terrible way to be in a union. It was killing our marriage. The lies, I think, were what was killing our marriage.
That was the hardest part. Like, I can deal with truth, but I can't deal with lies, because like you have a soul, you have an energy body, and it picks up on truth, which is not said. If it's not said, it picks it up anyway. And so your body knows when something is off, and your body starts rejecting when something is not truth. And so even though like those lies were happening, I was wondering why my body was rejecting Lou. And that was painful. But then like the gaslighting would happen, like, hey, I really sensed this happen. Like, no, it didn't happen. And I was like, why does my body feel like this? Why am I having these visions of what happened?
Yeah, so like just years of lies, gaslighting. Mostly on my end, not much on yours at all. I feel like you had come to, through dissociation, I slowly started, this is really scary, guys, but I slowly started disassociating from my own soul. And that's a really scary place to be. But I feel like if you're going to be living in a state of inauthenticity with yourself, and in addiction, and in pleasure seeking, and in this surface level way of being, just like la-di-da, life's so good, numbing, pleasure, numbing, addiction, then you are slowly pushing away your soul. So you no longer have that access to your divinity and the truth that lives within you. And that slowly started leaving me.
Yeah.
And that's really scary because I know people that have been on this journey for a while get to a point where they like have lost contact. So I'm so grateful for plant medicine. I know we're not even meant to talk about this on this podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for plant medicine, guys, while I'm on this topic, because it and my willingness to want to be better, a better human being. I never lost that. I don't know why or how. And then I'm really grateful for ayahuasca because it just it really like adjusted some and reminded, it like brought my soul to the surface and was like, don't forget me, Lou, I'm here. We need to reconnect. Like, we need each other. And I'm just so grateful. Okay, we don't have to talk about that now. We can talk about it on the podcast. But anyways, that really ignited a remembrance. And I came clean about a lot of things. And which is really hard, guys. It's really hard to do that. And anyone that can do that, I bow to you. Like, way to go. And I'm just so grateful for a partner who was able to hold me in love and see my sincerity, even though I had been so insincere for so many years. And I don't know how or why, but I'm just grateful for Bronson for holding so much unconditional love, as much pain as this whole experience has been for both of us. So thank you. It saved us, and you're a big part of that. Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are. We made it, you know?
Oh my gosh.
And so
I don't know how we did that or why, but we did.
And it's just listening and to the soul, not forgetting the soul. Mm-hmm. Because I could have continued down that life, but it would have taken me numbing to forget the soul. But as long as I have my soul with me and vibrant, that can exist. And so we didn't forget our souls. And then, like, same for me, I didn't really understand what divine union was until about a year ago, because I'd been done with that other stuff for a while.
And I think we've been looking for divine union all along, like since we met, right? Since we got married, like we were hoping to have a divine union, and we were thinking we were on the path to do that. And then when we realized that wasn't true, we were like, well, what is union? And well, let's try this path. Nope, that's not. Let's try this path. Oh, that's not it either. And so we have been on this journey to find the path. It's just taken us down a lot of interesting routes, but we found it, a piece of it. I'm sure it just expands from here, right?
Yeah.
But we found it.
Yeah. And that's why we're doing this podcast today, because everything's come full circle and we found it. And I didn't even know what the term divine union was. Never heard about it. You know, it was always marriage or eternal marriage or partnership or whatever. Until about a year ago, what happened for me is, like, I'm on a spiritual journey and I'm trying to become the divine masculine, you know, and with unity and wholeness within myself. And a year ago, we went to a plant medicine ceremony. And in that ceremony, I was able to witness the most beautiful, divine, powerful women, like as portals between heaven and earth, healing, receiving messages from God, the universe, and in their full power.
They held themselves with, the women in the ceremony that were leading it just held themselves with so much maturity and wholeness and like just groundedness. They didn't have any like leaky energy.
Yeah, there's no crave for attention or any leaks,
No
and it was just like this divine portal and frequency from God. And I had never witnessed this in my life. Like, I've witnessed, like, yes, my mom beautiful and all these people beautiful, and then just like, but I had never witnessed what the divine feminine looks in all of her power. It was the first time when I was 36 years old. 36 years old, and that changed my life, and the healing power that they had for me, the guidance, the intuition that they gave to me, the teachings they gave to me as they were
The love.
And the love, and as they were divinely in that,
standing in their truth,
and standing in truth. And I was like, what? I've never experienced this in my life, and I don't think I was able to experience that until I was in my divine masculine, and I was healed within myself, and I just wanted to like bow and honor and protect that, which is so beautiful.
I think maybe also I don't want to speak for you, but maybe the wholeness in you was recognizing the wholeness in them, because we've done a lot of work to get here, like a lot of inner work. It's not easy. And Bronson especially was on like just this beautiful journey of inner work, and like clearing and getting rid of blockages, and really trying to find his true self and live in truth and live in alignment. And I think at that point in your life you were in wholeness, and so you were able to recognize that divinity and that wholeness, because you also were. It was a reflection too. So good job. And
so thank you, because it has been a lot of work, and my soul has been guiding me, but it's been hard. But now I'm so grateful, and for all the healing, like just to follow the soul, because what it's led me to, what it's led us to, has been so beautiful. And from that experience a year ago, I was just honored. I was just like honored, and I was just like blown away what the divine feminine looked like, and that's what I wanted to protect, and I was so grateful for from that moment forward. Then I would see it throughout the year. Then I would start seeing it in Lou, and I was like, wow, like this divine feminine in her power. And like last week I went to, and I've seen it many places, but like what sparked me wanting to speak more on this subject is I went to Costa Rica last week. And I was able to be in a space, to hold space for the divine feminine and all their power and their healing, and seeing what that looks like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful thing in the world. These are the greatest healers in the world. They have so many gifts as they access the heavens and bring that to earth.
And the divine feminine is just a woman who is in her wholeness, and who is living and acting and healing and speaking and loving from wholeness, like from truth, from pure alignment, her mind, body, soul alignment.
Yeah, it is truth.
It's truth.
And it is pure, and it is pure magic.
And we didn't see that in the religion we were brought up in, because there's a lot of dynamics that didn't align with at least what felt right to me. So I never saw that alignment properly in the religion we grew up in. I've never seen that example in any people I know or like friends, and I never.
Yeah, I grew up. The man was the healer.
Yeah.
The man had all the gifts. The man had all this access to God. And that's how I grew up.
Yeah, same. And so we've never experienced that a woman can stand completely in her wholeness, and a man can stand completely in their wholeness, and then they can come together in divine union. We've never seen that with our own eyes, or felt it.
Felt it as well.
Felt it is probably more the better word to say, but like felt that energy in someone. And so to feel that in these ceremonies and these retreats we've gone to has just been like a game changer, because it gave us something to grasp onto, which is what we've been looking for all along.
Yeah.
We've been looking for that. We just been looking in all
we got detoured,
dirty closets and cobwebs.
I mean, but I think that's been the blessing, because we know what it is not. So we can appreciate what it is.
Yeah, I think, and on that point, I think it's just like led us to where I'm at right now. It has just brought me to this place in our marriage where I'm like so committed to it because I know all the other options, because I've tasted them, I've felt them, I've sat in the pain with it, I've experienced all the other options, and I know it's not what I want. And so it's like even more like commitment here, because I know this is what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't have these little thoughts like, well, what if, you know? And some people don't need to have those experiences. Some people don't. And I would hope on everyone that they don't have to live through the pain of that. But for many people, that's a part of their journey. And that brings them back to this commitment and this wholeness and this divine union that we've discovered. And also there's like, I'm reaching a point, and it's taken a while, but I'm reaching a point where I'm no longer feeling so much like pain and shame around it, but really just truly learning to give myself so much grace and gratitude for going on that journey and then getting out. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Lou. Poor little Lou. Like, she didn't know she was touching that kind of fire, you know? And I'm grateful for little Bronze, naive little Bronze and naive little Lou who went on this journey. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for the Lou and the Bronze that was able to like notice what they were doing. I'm grateful for the Lou and the Bronze that was able to step into truth and discovery of truth, which has been also a really hard journey. Plant medicine ceremonies are not easy, guys. There's a lot that surfaces, and there's a lot you have to deal with internally that comes from that. At least the way we do ceremonies, they're very much.
You have to face yourself at a lot of different levels, and there's layers and there's layers and layers, and
then you have to integrate, and then you have to take action, and then you have to tell the truth, and then you have to tell the truth, and then you have to tell the truth to yourself, to God.
That's what sets you free.
And to your partner if you're in a partnership. And that's been brutal, but that's the true work right there, is telling the truth to yourself and getting aligned, living in alignment, so that all this magic and beauty, that's this inner union in him, this inner union in me, can now come together in this divine sacred union of two of us. And that love and that truth and that alignment and that commitment will only now be able to like just spread. And it's like a catalyst, like double the potency of just love.
There's so much power in that, in both living in truth and full commitment, and in a solid container. Because when there's so many leaks, you can't really get anywhere. You can't, like, if you're in a Vikingo ship, you know, Viking ship, and it has all these leaks, and you're trying to cross the ocean, you're not going to get to it very far, and you're going to be putting all this effort paddling or whatever you got to do, or sailing, but it's just leaking, and it's just leaking, and it's just leaking, and water's coming in and out, and you're not really getting anywhere. But when you seal up all that energy, all that leaky energy, all that sexual energy, you seal it all up, and you go into your divine feminine, your divine masculine, and you come together, woo! Then it starts getting magical. And you got all the power in the world, and there's no hesitation. Like, I don't doubt where Lou is. She doesn't doubt where I am. I honor her. She honors me. We honor our highest versions of us, our highest selves.
And push each other.
And so now we're like living in truth, and then we have our power back, and then we could bless our kids, and we can bless our community. We can bless everyone around us through our message. And it just brings all that power that used to be leaking out. And now we get the power back, and like, let's go. And it's beautiful. That's why I said at the beginning of this podcast, I love you more than I ever have, more than the day we got married, because now we peeled back all the layers, and I see Lou and your soul and your higher self, and I love her. You know, she is amazing, you know?
I love her too.
Yeah.
She's finally coming online.
Yeah.
Proud of her.
poor girl went through the ringer, you know, and I could say that for myself, like my poor soul kept me going, but I numbed it out a few times and it didn't like it, you know. It didn't like it. I said, no, we got a bigger mission here. Mm. We got a bigger mission. Why you fucking around? Like, why you doing this? Don't numb me.
Literally.
Yeah, literally, like, stop numbing me. We got greater work. Like, there's more to this. There's more beauty in this. Don't numb the soul. Don't ever numb the soul. Your soul's right. Your body's right. Sometimes our minds fucks with us. Our mind is the one that does more damage, but our soul and our body, no. And it's never led me astray. And so that's why I'm like filled with energy now, and I'm so grateful for it. And I honor the divine feminine, and I have so much respect, and I honor divine union, and I hold space for everything else because there's no judgment. Like, yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Been there. I feel you. I don't judge it. It's just, this is too precious to go back.
Oh, 100%. Way too precious. That was a good example too. Like all the energy that we now feel when you know how to hold, going back to kind of how I was explaining, my sexual energy was just like flailing out everywhere, just wild, and I didn't know how to contain it. But just now learning and knowing how to hold that and how to guard it and how to protect it and love it and cherish it and hold it sacred for myself, for God, and for this union. Like, I'm just bringing all that energy that's just going wild and that needs somewhere to go. Bring it here, bring it here, bring it to your heart, bring it here. Now it's here in this container and in this space of commitment and safety. And oh my gosh, I don't know why it took me that to learn it, but well, there you go.
That's life. We all get lifed.
I wonder if some people know that from day one. Like, why was I not taught that?
We're all taught different lessons, and we came here for different purposes, and but the soul knows. The soul knows, and that's what this life is all about, for expansion, and it's all about expansion and learning and growth, and we can either listen to the whispers or the thunder, you know,
or wait till it turns to thunder, yeah,
or wait till the freaking hurricane comes through and demolish, you know. But it's all a choice. It's all our choice. What do you choose?
And you always have a choice. You always have a choice. And your soul's always there. Just waiting to be cherished and loved and heard. And yeah, what a journey. So that's a bit of our ugly but beautiful love story.
What a love story.
And I used to be so embarrassed of it and like ashamed of it, which is why we haven't shared it sooner than we thought. Along with other things, there was still some like lies and things that needed to be kind of like cleared. And to be able to speak to you guys today, like there's been a lot of clearing, even just recently. But I honestly can stand here and like so much groundedness, and I can hold this story. I used to really struggle with that, but I think the only reason we're even sharing it is because we can hold this story of ours. You know, I'm sure our kids will know about this journey of ours. We're sharing it publicly. You know, the community knows about this journey of ours, and this, I can hold it, and I think it's really important that it's shared. I really do. I know there's a lot of people that are struggling this is the human experience, and I know we're not alone in this story of ours and in this journey, and so I'm grateful we're both on this path together, because that's the only way we've made it work. Yeah,
it's the only way there is the divine union, both living in truth, in alignment, and so that's what divine union is. And we've wanted to share things a year ago, 2 years ago, but it wasn't completely in truth, and it was not the time. So we'd record something not post it, right?
Yeah.
Until divine timing where we're both in complete truth.
The desire was there, but the authenticity wasn't quite there yet on my part, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
so
grateful we're
now,
here.
after going to Costa Rica last week, I like totally tapped into like, we really need to speak on the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and divine union. This is a message that needs to go on. So I just like, I didn't even go to work today because we need to get this message out.
We needed to share it.
So I want to help the Bronsons 10 years ago, and I want to help the Luisas 10 years ago. You know, and try to like compress that time frame so there's not so much pain.
So if you, after watching this, if you feel the need to reach out, please reach out to us. We would love to chat and talk with you guys more about this. We're here for you. And I love you. You can do it. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth, and we support you, and we know it's very difficult, and there's things that you don't want to bring up, but it's the thing that's going to set you free.
Tell the truth and stay rooted in love, always.
Yeah. So that's our story. We'll keep sharing.
Oh man, babe, I love you.
I love you, Lou.
Thanks for sharing that with me and holding space for this conversation. And I know those little mucky guys, but we did it, and we love you.
Love y'all.